Hi, Mark.
Hi Nico, how you doing?
Very well, thank you. For those of you who don't know Mark's a member of the Six at St. George's and has been a member of the church for 15 years now. And Mark, would you like to share with us, you had a big change in your career. Would you like to share about that and how that came to happen?
Yeah, up to 2015, I was working for a large multinational bank. I was advising wealthy clients on how to invest their money, and had what I would describe as a very enjoyable time there, and learnt a lot. Um, Around sort of the previous few years, I'd started to feel as though God perhaps had other plans for me as part of my work role, that didn't involve the bank, but involved perhaps doing something else. And I'd probably go back to New Wine in 2010 when I felt that God gave me a gentle nudge to say, I have other plans for you work-wise, but I didn't know at the time what they were, and I didn't know the timing of it. So it got to 2015, and I felt as though at work I was swimming against the tide. Everything I was doing didn't seem to be working out. It seemed really hard work, and also at the same time, my elderly father was needing a bit more care and support, and would have perhaps been okay if he was local, but he was 200 miles away in North Lincolnshire, and it was becoming much more difficult to hold down a full-time job and support him. And I kind of got the impression that God was saying, now's the time. Around that time, I'd also started having conversations with Citizens Advice. I still wasn't sure exactly what I was going to be doing, but I got an introduction to someone, to the district manager at Citizens Advice, and actually a member of the St. George's, St. Giles congregation, and started having conversations. And to cut a long story short, I started volunteering for them, and after going through all the training in 2015-16, they offered me a job, a paid job, and as a debt advisor, and the rest is history, as they say.
Brilliant. So it's a really big career change. So what are you doing now with them?
Yeah, so now I work as a debt advisor, as I've said, and this involves meeting clients who are struggling with their finances and unable to pay their debts. So we sit down with them, we work out a budget, because that's one of the key parts of debt advice, work out what's coming in, what's going out, and help clients to sort out a repayment schedule to repay their debts. Of course, with some clients, the situation is quite dire because there is no money left over at the end of the month. And for a small number of clients, we need to look at insolvency options, which might involve bankruptcy or a debt relief order, which allows a client to get their debts written off, so they can be debt free and can have a fresh start.
So I'm guessing now with the whole kind of financial crisis that started and it's going to continue, and it's probably going to be worse in the next few months and years, you're probably going to get a lot more work as Citizens Advice. But some people at church and some people we know might be struggling financially, and it could be either that they don't know how they're going to feed their family, but it also could be that they're scared they might lose a job, or how they're going to pay for a mortgage. So maybe with your experience, is anything you could share that might give us a bit of recommendations or advice on how to deal with all of this?
Yeah, that's a good point, Nico. I think the first thing I'd say to anyone is don't panic. Although your financial situation might seem quite dire, there's always a way out, and the key thing is to talk to the right people, or do some research on the right websites. If anyone's looking for some hints as to where to go to, obviously I'd say Citizens Advice, but other debt advice agencies are available, such as Step Change, Christians Against Poverty, and National Debtline. I think the other point worth making is that lots and lots of people will be going through a similar situation over the next few months. So you're certainly not on your own. I think the other important thing in all of this is to talk to someone, perhaps a close friend, a family member, or perhaps even someone from the church who might be able to pray for you. Obviously, there's the pastoral team here at St. George's and St. Giles who who will be able to provide support and signpost you to someone if necessary. So there's lots of support out there for people if they are experiencing financial difficulties. And also, although there may be a lot of people who aren't facing difficulties, if you're in that situation, do look out for comments that people might make indicating perhaps they are in financial difficulties, because they may need someone to support them through these difficult times ahead. If I can give you one statistic which kind of just indicates how difficult things may be going forward, it's some research by Money Advice which has identified or estimated that 16 million, that's 16 million of adults in the UK have savings of less than £100. So it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much of an income shock, so a loss of job or reduced hours to impact people's finances. So I think debt advisors are going to be quite busy over the next few months.
Yeah, I think you're probably going to be very busy, but I just share that your advice on chatting about issues is really important. And I think for all of us, regardless of what we're going through, if it's financial problems or problems with our family or even our mental health, it's really important to reach out and speak to someone. And we have a brilliant pastoral team that can do that. So I think I'll really pick on that advice. And thanks for sharing all of this with us, Mark. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye, Nico.